This is Vigilant Liberty Radio News from Independent Journal Review for January 8th. 12 people are confirmed dead and 3 are injured after masked gunmen stormed the Paris offices of the French weekly satirical paper Charlie Hebdo this morning. French President François Hollande called the shooting a terrorist attack without doubt and raised France's terrorism alert to its highest level. Charlie Hebdo has received numerous threats over drawings of the Prophet Muhammad and other caricatures of Muslim religious figures, and their offices were firebombed in 2011 after releasing a cartoon of Muhammad. This is one of the deadliest terror attacks in France in the past 2 decades. World leaders condemned the attacks, with President Obama saying in a statement, quote, "The fact that this was an attack on journalists, attack on our free press, also underscores that these terrorists fear freedom of speech and freedom of the press." Common Core federal education standards have long been a source of controversy, and now IJ Review reports that Renaissance Learning, an educational organization, found serious issues with some of the outcomes of these standards. The report from IJ Review quotes educational expert Dr. Sandra Stotsky saying students in grades 9 through 12 are only reading at about a 6th or 7th grade level. Dr. Stotsky served on the Common Core Validation Committee in 2009 and 2010 and called the standards, quote, inferior and refused to approve them. Stotsky criticized the English language arts standards and warned that the mathematics standards left out what was necessary to prepare kids for a career in science, technology, engineering, or math fields. The number of American men who don't work is on the rise. In the 1960s, 5 out of 10 men ages 25 to 54 did not work, but today that number is 16 out of 100. Some of the reasons include more men are officially unemployed, more older men are on disability, more young men are caring for their families, retirement rates are decreasing, more young men are in school, leading to graduation rates going up 5%. This may be attributed to the fact that they cannot find work. Unemployment rates also vary greatly from region to region, with northern states participating in the fracking boom having lower unemployment, with North Dakota coming in at 2.2%, and the largest state unemployment figures come from rural areas in Mississippi. These numbers come as the new Congress is set to look at unemployment benefits this week. And when the 114th Congress does get to work, it will be one of the most diverse Congresses in the history of the United States. In the House of Representatives, there are 104 women and nearly 100 Black, Hispanic, and Asian lawmakers in the Senate. Mia Love is the first Black Republican woman elected to Congress, and Republican Tim Scott is the first Black senator elected in the South since Reconstruction. Republican Elise Stefanik, age 30, is the youngest woman ever elected to Congress, and while a majority of Congress is Christian, there are also 2 Muslims, 2 Buddhists, and 1 Hindu serving as well. This has been Amy Curtis with your Vigilant Liberty Radio News from Independent Journal Review for January 8th.
Welcome back to the show. This is The Right Mics with Mike Miller and Michael Hausum. Super duper fun to have Watson call in, right?
Dude, that just broke out into I think if we had all been in the same studio, as opposed to our individual private random opulent studios, that might have just gotten even more ugly than it did. And
Right. So we've got a half hour left in the show here, folks. If you'd like to call in, please do 412-567-6879. If you want to interact via Twitter, which we've got a handful of folks that always do during the show, it's at The Right Mics. So, Mike, did you happen to see? I just want to bring this up because I'm actually not sure whether or not I should feel guilty about this. Did you see that post up on IJR, the Army Ranger and the MMA fighters' 2-fingered message to terrorists that is not safe for work but crystal clear? Did you see that?
You know what? I did not. I have links from you, but no.
Okay, you got to open this thing up, dude.
Where is it?
Here, I'll send it to you in the private thread, and it's one of the most recent ones that's up. It's still up on IJ Review. I can't believe
I haven't been there today.
All right. Well, I just sent you the link on it. Anyway, folks, the title of it's Army Ranger and MMA Fighters Two-Fingered Message to Terrorists is NSFW, which is not safe for work, but crystal clear. So there's this cat, Tim Kennedy, Army Ranger, Green Beret, heavily decorated.
Oh, I see it. Yeah.
Yeah, Iraq, Afghanistan. He's now a mixed martial arts fighter. And he put out a tweet. I hate terrorists. I hate cowards. Ironically, they're one and the same. Hashtag parachuting. Hashtag Paris attack. And then there's a picture of him. And he's got two of his fingers up in the air. And I'll let you decide which ones they were. And he's wearing a shirt that says, "Free men do not ask permission to bear arms." So it's only been up for a short bit. And 1,000 views or so. And you want to hear the dirty secret, Miller?
I do.
I just straight published it, dude.
Oh my God! How were you able to do that?
I can straight publish. I just haven't, and
you guys just can't edit, right?
No, I can edit too.
Wow, dude.
I can go into any story, open it up, and edit any story on the page. The level of
You've gotten semi-crypto clearance.
Yeah, I have clearance that's apparently accidental. Because when I first got on, last February or March or whatever, I was publishing stuff directly myself. And at some point that changed. But Emily's posted the thing on that Facebook wall. And I said, hey, I'll get it. And I'm looking at it, and I liked it so much. And I thought, you know what? This thing is going to do fine. Over a few hours to have 1,000 views without going to CD or IJR is doing well, right?
Well, see, and here's the deal. I mean, speaking of Emily, as we speak, she and husband are in a rented moving truck, whatever, en route to their new home in Florida. And she's going to be, I think, out here. So I think you might just have to continue to go for this.
So I just did it. And I've been waiting all day for somebody to go, hey, how's them? Remember back when you said you saved that article?
This guy looks like a bad dude, by the way.
Oh, dude, you go through his Twitter timeline, and the combination, the guy's been in movies. He's been in some military video games. He does mixed martial arts, as well as his time as a Green Beret and an Army Ranger. Full badass, dude.
His tweet, I hate, all caps, terrorist, I hate, all caps, cowards. Ironically, they are one in the same. Hashtag parachuting, hashtag Paris attack. Kudos to him.
Yeah, totally, man.
You awesome. For the grab, by the way.
Well, it was Emily's grab. It's just my chutzpah that.
All right, fine. Yeah, I'm glad to see you kind of getting out there a little bit because.
Right.
Yeah. Yes. Listen, I want to completely switch the subject here because I think, again, we started the show, albeit about, our desire to become more sensitive to Islam, right? And everything we're going to do. And we may have to just bullet point that.
We're redoubling. The phrase is we're redoubling our efforts.
Yes. The right mics, redoubling our efforts, I forget what it was now. I have to go back and look at it. But to post tenets or support the peaceful religion on a daily basis or whatever have you. So, I mean, I'm just thinking, and this is a bit in the context of just being more sensitive to what's going on in the world. And you and I mean, I think we basically have said that in the past. I mean, that's why we care about chickens being free ranged and, candlelight vigils for deer and, everything else that you and I are profoundly behind. But
profoundly, passionately behind.
Yeah, exactly. So Time Magazine, dude, did you see that story about women waiting in line to use a bathroom anywhere? That's extremely sexist.
You know what? I saw the thing, but I didn't go into it because I cannot wait to hear you explain it. So I didn't read it because I just knew that the way you would explain it would be so good. So walk through, please.
Listen, let's let Time explain it. Okay, I'm going to quote here just for a second. If you're a woman, chances are you've A, spent time fidgeting in a long line waiting to use a public toilet, B, delayed a bodily function because you don't want to or haven't the time to waste standing in line to use a public toilet. C, considered sneaking into a men's room, illegal in some places, or D, cursed loudly because of all of the above. So there's the context, okay? So you're at a sporting event, you're at a concert, you're at the mall or wherever, being forced to wait in line behind other apparently abused women is sexist.
Well, that is really, really, really important, and I think I think that is exactly. I'm looking at the note here. Phyllis is online, and I think potty parity. Women's lines in public toilets. I think that's exactly what Phyllis.
And who better to weigh in on that than Phyllis?
Yeah, Phyllis, are you there?
Yes, I'm calling from Paris, but I absolutely think it's sexist completely that my soon-to-be, well, my chosen gender, but my soon-to-be actual gender, I'm going to be discriminated against where I have to wait an inordinate amount of time for a toilet.
Well, it's interesting.
I think they should...
No, this is really important because obviously Time Magazine is talking about, a long history of, favoring men's bodies. And obviously they're talking about some of the things that are going on here, the House of Representatives, et cetera. But I think that as the new America is one that's informed by everything that's going on in Europe. What's it like trying to wait in a woman's line in Europe? And is there parity for women in Paris? Maybe you can speak to that.
Well, I must confess, as soon as I heard about the Charlie Chaplin thing happened yesterday, I hopped on a plane immediately because I didn't want to see
it's not Charlie Chaplin, by the way.
Oh, it's not? I'm sorry. I know. Charlie something or other. Anyway, I hopped on a plane immediately to Paris. First thing I could catch to Paris because I didn't want to see discrimination against Muslims because I admire their carbon footprint. I mean, half their population does not drive, which I got to admit that's pretty impressive. But anyway, so I didn't want to see discrimination against the Muslims. So I went over to, I said, get me the first flight to Paris. And I'm in Paris, California. And it's not what I thought it would be. It's nothing like, I can't get a decent croissant here at all. So I really can't comment on the other Paris.
So you kind of didn't read the whole story before you kind of boarded the flight, right? And that's okay.
Well, it was. I realize now it was not a flight; it was a Greyhound bus because there's not a lot of international flights to Paris.
Right, that's true.
California.
All right. So listen, let's get back. Let's get back to the bathroom thing. And as you know, in your unique position, Phyllis, this whole attack on women, as it relates to sexism and bathrooms, this is just the surface, right? I mean, there is so much more going on. My question, I guess, to you in your transition is, how are you going to deal with all that stuff?
Well, I think it's important that we raise awareness because not enough is done to raise awareness. The most important thing we can all do is raise awareness. So I think we must raise awareness to have not only men's rooms and women's rooms, but people in my unique situation who are transgendered. We should have our own bathrooms as well. And come to think of it, the post-op should have their own bathrooms as well so that they don't feel uncomfortable. So I think there should be at least 4 sets of bathrooms at minimum involved here because it really isn't fair that, men should be forced to pee sitting down. And it's not fair that men can pee standing up. That's just sexist.
Well, Henry, Henry, what am I talking about? It's funny. I just got a private message.
By the way, that would have been Henrietta. It was possibly going to be.
Yeah, and that was Housen. That was very insensitive. That was very.
No,
insensitive.
I've got a private message from a guy that's